Well, I remember my first dream is it felt like it takes place out on a hillside. It's almost like people, they're not really staying in their homes, they're staying out here. And there's supposed to be some kind of supervision, but there's couples. But it almost feels like in the couples, they're a danger to each other in a way, or actually within the couple, like the man might be a danger to the woman. And there are people that are supposed to make sure that they keep things safe. And I'm more of an observer in this, I think. It's almost like you feel like some of the men are trying to kill the women, their wives actually. And so they've been somewhat separated. But on the hillside, people have to sometimes come together to help each other. But I'm kind of observing this. Well, in all this coming together, suddenly one man stabs the woman to death, but actually says that she fell on the knife or something like that. It was an accident, didn't mean it to happen, and kind of gets away with it. I'm kind of trying to argue the other side, like I don't trust this, so I'm trying to keep everybody under observation or something, and all this running around that goes on. It's about all I really remember from that dream. I'm upset that anyone even believed him, but they seem to. It's like he could get away with it.
What you're describing is a very odd way of describing it, but you're looking at an overall condition. And the overall condition you look at is a setting that is like on a slippery slope, in which the traits that you carry have a crack or a break in them. They're not held together consistently. And the crack or the break that they have in them creates a problem in terms of holding something together. In other words, there's wounding that happens when the masculine energy actually violates the feminine energy of overallness. And it's hard to keep the overallness together because it's on the slippery slope. And you're just looking at a particular set setting on the slippery slope, and there's all this stuff going on that is failing to hold a stableness. And that there is kind of a attitude you have in that you feel that what is taking place, the result of it is not being properly held accountable. Is getting away with. What you're basically describing is a set condition upon which you carry yourself, in which there is this confused gap that isn't able to sustain itself with a focus. The way we were dreaming last night, I was looking at how I carry a particular characteristic in terms of how I go about doing things. I carry this particular characteristic or trait in my nature. Left to my own devices, I actually shut down to a certain degree with this particular trait. I'm not as open as oftentimes people are when I meet them. I hold a certain rigidity, and I often judge myself in terms of this rigidity because I have to then come out of this rigidity in order to relate to them. This set quality upon which one carries themselves is kind of something that one takes on for terms of being part of and in a dense world. It's the trait that you develop when you learn to chop wood and carry water, so to speak, or get grounded and rooted in life. So what you're doing is you're seeing where in the overallness that you carry in terms of yourself, you have this area in which you leak energy, in which you do not hold that characteristic and that trait, and therefore you don't hold your full presence like you could be holding your full presence. This dream is explaining to you or is showing you how it is that you dissipate energy in terms of attitude or reactivity or anger or frustration. It's interesting. As I hear this dream, what I find interesting about it is you have to carry a real expansive nature because you are meant to be more of a container and you're meant to be more subjective in terms of how you're able to appreciate and feel and see things. You're seeing being subjective, not objective. And yet this dream is telling you that your subjective clarity is somewhat biased because there is a component of yourself, the blackboard side of yourself that is rooted in life, with the subjective clarity to things, that the degree to which you are able to, in your overallness, take into account what is going on is biased or affected to a certain degree by a mannerism that you still carry toward what is going on that isn't properly and completely linked yet in terms of your masculine and feminine side. And that what you're doing to keep this from coming together is you're still holding out some sort of judgment in terms of what is fair or unfair, or appropriate or inappropriate in terms of how something should be mediated, meaning that what you see, you feel that the standards aren't right in terms of what the masculine can get away with. And this bothers you, and because this bothers you, this will then affect your sense of natural knowingness, because it will act as a filter to keep you from getting the information more purely from your subjective side of yourself. See how that worked? That's quite a quality, catching up with how you carry yourself so that you can take and know things. And when you carry something that's a little misaligned, it keeps you from being able to get complete and proper unbiased readout in your overallness.